on the phone.
Terrific. All right, so we're going to get started. Renee's going to we know who's here and who's not here. Orla and Roberta couldn't make it today. We're opening the meeting at 1:34, and Renee knows who's present. The first item of business is to approve the minutes from March of 2020. Do I have a motion?
Yeah, this is Dick. I'll make a motion to accept as is.
Lynn Landry said she would second. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any noes? Okay, thank you. All right, the next item on the agenda is Kerma Trident reports. I haven't received anything else new, and this is typically also the place where Mark would have talked about anything coming out through HD Seeger. So Mark, if you have anything you'd like to say to the group?
Nothing specific. This came up pretty quickly, so I didn't have a chance to put together any loss information, which I can do for the next one. He did mention you might want something heat stress and tick related.
I guess
that was last time.
I think that was last time.
Okay, because he mentioned
so we
that.
can talk about options. Are you
Okay.
going to be coming out and doing the training
Yes,
as well?
I will be the primary. I actually was when I've been out there a few times, but it was probably 7 or 8 years ago when I first started at Seeger. And I did some stuff for you when I was with Kerma prior to that. So I've been there. But it was Luke's account, and then Mark took over when we hired him. So I don't know how we'll rearrange it if and when we hire a new person. So you may be stuck with me for a while.
Oh, jokey. Well, welcome and thank you again, and we can talk about options for other things we might have you discuss when we do the next meeting.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks. All right, next on the agenda is the issue resolution tracking. I did go in and make a couple of updates. Everybody should have that in front of them. So we're just going to go through quickly and see if any of the open items are now closed. All right, panic buttons still haven't happened, I know that. The people being left alone in town hall after closing the doors. We are awaiting that card swipe system, and it says here that we still need to have a plan until that happens, which I'm sorry to say hasn't happened. I'm not sure if there's anybody else that could jump on this with me to try to get this taken care of quickly. Anybody able to do that?
What are you asking, Marie?
If someone can volunteer with me to come up with a closing procedure that we will use until we get the card swipe system. I'll draft Orla, since she's the one.
I feel like that should be Leslie. This is like her cause.
No, that was Orla.
Oh, was it? Leslie had a strong opinion, though.
Yes, but Leslie, I don't think is on.
She's not.
No.
I think she had intended to, so I don't know
Yeah,
if she's having difficulty.
All right, so I will talk to Orla about it, and we'll try to get something done quickly, because I'm not sure when that card swipe system is happening. And I'll try to get that from Amy.
Hey,
All right.
Marie,
Yep.
etc. We got Ken as the assigned person. Should be changed to Amy, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you looking at the push bar doors?
Yeah, there's two. The first one has Ken's name on it as well.
Oh, the
Sorry.
panic, yeah, panic should be Amy. And
Yeah,
then,
there's one on the next page too.
yeah, we'll do, so that the, getting those push bar doors, I'm not sure where that stands, to be honest. So again, I'll talk with Amy about that. Rich, DPW SDS sheets are complete, right?
Yes. Yes.
Done. We like that. CPR classes, that has not happened yet. Sexual harassment training, I think we're gonna have to look at people doing it online that weren't able to attend. I'm just having a real hard time, getting people scheduled with what's going on and doing it in a Zoom meeting. So I think we're gonna try to do that. Is that okay with everybody? Basically, they can
Okay
sit
with
down
me.
at their computer at work and do the class.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. The next one I know is change 2, the DPW needing a place to sleep during storms and plow season. We want to fill us in, Rich?
Well, if you look at Eric's camera, he's sitting out in the shop, and behind him is this towering pile of lumber that has windows in it.
I don't see Rich. I don't see him. Oh, wait a minute. Is he on the camera? Oh, there's Leslie. Oh, my goodness, look at that. So you're climbing up a ladder to get to a room where you can sleep?
Eric, pan over to the other side, please.
Wow. That looks a little more safe.
Yes. So we now have a 16-foot deep by 30-foot wide break room that is on the second floor. Downstairs is tool and equipment storage for the highway guys. On the opposite side is a tool and part storage room for Joe, our mechanic, and a pass-through hallway in the center that comes up front to the offices.
Whoa, so organized.
Nice.
Terrific.
Very nice. So we can close that out. Leslie, we're just going to back up a second to one of the things that somebody
Yeah,
recalled
sorry,
you.
Lee.
No, it's okay, that you spoke up on, which was the closing procedure until we get the swipe system because of people being left alone in the town hall. The doors aren't locked, or the alarm is set and you're still here. Or the building's left open between 5 and 7 till the meeting starts. Was that something that you expressed concern about?
Yes.
Would you like to help push along a little procedure?
Can I ask about these
Yes.
swipe cards? Do we have
Yes.
money in hand to make it happen?
Yes.
What? Okay, so we have
My
money, so
understanding is that it-
money's not the issue.
That's my understanding, is that it was set aside for that system.
And we're not quite sure where it stands.
Correct.
So,
But I-
okay.
I'm gonna ask Amy where it stands. So Marie will be on that, but I would like somebody else who has concerns, whether it be, Orla or Leslie or whoever, Renee, whoever has spoken up, to
Not me.
be part of it.
I'm the guilty party.
Just to be part of this, because I don't have, I'm usually here last at 5, and I pull the pins, but it doesn't happen regularly enough that there are people that are being left with the doors open when business is not supposed to be happening, and there are people wandering around the building that shouldn't be in here, is my understanding.
So I would suggest Orla and Leslie because Orla has been very vocal about it in the past, so
Yeah,
I would
Orla
suggest
and
that she said,
Orla and I are usually the last ones in the building, so I think we're the ones who, and me particularly being right near the door, it's different, but for Orla being upstairs, people can come in and wander around downstairs if the pin's not pulled, and, not realize that there's someone upstairs, so.
all right, so can we just leave it? We've discussed this, many meetings, so we know you're going to take care of it.
Yeah, I'm happy to work with you, Marie, on that.
Okay, the only other thing that's part of that is what we're gonna do about, the building between, say, Leslie leaving and when a meeting's gonna start. Are we gonna lock up and give keys to the recording secretaries? But that'll be part of the whole discussion. Okay.
That's right.
So the next one, we had couple things on hold. Upper parking lot guardrails. I know Rich and the guys have done an amazing job getting everything relined in a new parking lot, but what about those silly guardrails? Not so silly.
I actually spoke to my guardrail guy yesterday. He's supposed to get back to me with a date that he can come out and look at a few other things that we're going to repair in town as far as roadside guardrails, and at the same time I'm going to get him to do the ones at the town hall.
Terrific. All righty, we'll leave that open.
I'd just like to say thank you, Rich, and all your guys for doing such a great job on the parking lot up there.
Can you hear her?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
It looks great. The lines are very helpful. I know the drainage won't be an issue in the future. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
You're welcome.
Rich, is the guardrail on at Wilsonville Park on that list? I know that.
Yes.
Yep. Thanks.
All right, when you enter or exit the town parking lot, there's no line to keep people on the correct side. We talked about having a line painted, but my understanding, Rich had mentioned that the space isn't wide enough to allow for this. Is that correct?
Yeah, the mouth of the driveway isn't wide enough for 2 turning lanes in and out. And if we were to put a line there, it could create even more of a safety issue, so I think that was why we decided to close that one.
Yeah,
Terrific.
I think there's some things that you were reading here that we closed last time for sure.
Okay. Fire lane at the library?
That I actually just discussed with Amy yesterday. I have the gentleman that painted the lines at the town hall. I got to schedule a meeting with him in the near future to go over some other things that I want him to do, and that was one of the things on the list.
Okay, thank you. And then the annual items, we can just skip over. Are there any new items to add to as issue resolution?
No,
Nothing?
we're good.
All righty. Next would be subcommittees, and I'm gonna let Lynn speak to the health fair, what happened, what we did instead.
Oh, wait.
What we did,
Sorry, can we go back?
A little bit, I think I can hear you better.
oh, okay. When we had planned the health fair this year, it was before the pandemic really hit. So we had plans to include the school employees. We had made some, had things getting into place, but because of not being able to gather in large numbers, we instead chose to have a virtual health fair, and so each employee received a bag with a tumbler that had a lot of information in the bag also about different healthy things to do for the summer. So I hope you all enjoy your tumbler. And we are
Thank
going
you.
to start planning next year's health fair at the same time of year in May.
All right. I couldn't find any old business. Does anybody else have any? No? Okay, on to new business.
There was the tick discussion between Safety and Rich. Did that never happen?
Discussion about what, Dick?
Ticks.
Ticks?
Yeah. Mark from HD Seeger talked about it last time.
Yeah, Mark talked about it last time, and it's in the minutes briefly. I know, Rich, you weren't able to make that last meeting. Are you confident that your guys have all the information they need about ticks?
I haven't had any, nobody's come to me with any questions or issues in regards to any ticks or tick-borne illnesses.
Would you like a handout to give them?
Sure, that would probably be worthy.
Okay. All right, we can add that. Anything else?
I don't know if Rich has a specific employee handbook for DPW staff, but in the camp handbook, we just put a little memo about ticks. So that's kind of how we cover that they've been informed of the risk of working outside,
Okay,
exposure to.
I'll get that, Leslie.
I don't know
And I'll
if you have a different handbook than us, but that way you don't have to that way
They
you
don't
don't have
have a
to.
handbook.
Yeah, that way you don't have to give or even just hanging it in your break room, so that way you don't have to worry about knowing that you've given a handout every time to the employee. But
I can send you some handouts if you need information.
just laminate it and pop it up there. Would be my.
Sounds fantastic.
Okay, so we're not gonna do a handout. It's gonna be posted.
We can
And
post
Mark
it.
is sending. Okay, great.
Marie, there was another one, proposed safety committee, does that ever get approved?
The proposed safety committee,
Yeah, the new terms.
goodness.
Under new business last time, it was, that the terms are renewed every 2 years on June 15th.
Can you hear Lynn?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
So in the minutes on item 7 from last meeting, it's that this new safety committee member terms are renewed all safety committee member terms are renewed every 2 years on June 15th.
were you looking for your specific date, Dick?
Well, the proposed one has a date for me. I was just wondering if it got approved.
So it sounds like the minutes read that we all are renewed June 15th. We're all in the same term.
But different years.
I believe it's an automatic renewal. Is that
Just that the
everyone else?
list that I have indicates that it's proposed.
No, according to the minutes from the last meeting in March, item 7 shows a motion and a second on the committee member terms being renewed every 2 years on June 15th, and terms are staggered. We can certainly let everybody know what their date is. All right, anything else in old business? Okay. Now we're going to move on to the protocol piece. We're still working out the town hall. The plan is to open on June 29th by appointment only. We'll be open 9 to 4 Monday through Thursday and 9 to 2 on Friday. There are going to be protocols that staff have to adhere to that are working in the building. Anybody coming from the outside, whether staff or the general public, will have to have a mask. General public, there will be screening questions. We're going to have hand sanitizer stations when you walk in the building. There are going to be questions that people are going to be asked before they can come in. Quite a few items on it. So I did send along the suggested screening questions. And did everybody get a chance to look at those?
I did.
Yeah, I did
Okay.
too.
So we're trying to get it down as small as we can because, yeah, we just want to make it as quick as we can for people, but get the information that we need. So
Those
is there
questions were
anybody-
so detailed, Marie.
Okay.
Like, I thought that was a lot to ask. Like, at this point, everybody knows the symptoms, so if you just ask them if they've displayed symptoms or if they've tested positive in the past 14 weeks. Because I think if you ask, like, all of the questions that are there, whoever they're going to visit is going to get paranoid, like, whoever they're going to work with. Because it asks if you've been around people, if you've traveled. I just think it gives people a lot of room to say yes to certain things.
But if they do say yes, we don't want them in the building.
I mean, nobody's still home anymore. Not nobody, but most people aren't still home.
Can I
I just
ask
thought
where
it
the
was-
list,
Very detailed.
is this a recommended list from somewhere, Marie?
No, this is no, these questions were taken from lists that were provided to me by different sources, and I tried to pick the ones that seemed like they covered the most ground, and I went over them with Amy, and she said if we can cut these back to 4, or you know, and I said maybe we combine something, and then we were bringing it to the group to see what we could do.
Do you have that with you right now?
Yeah,
Just read it to us like we're entering the town hall.
okay. Have you or anyone in your household had any of the following symptoms in the past 21 days? Sore throat, cough, chill, body ache, that sort, you know, that sort of thing is what I would probably say.
No, read it like you're gonna read it to them.
Oh, God, Sarah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you're gonna ask everybody that comes in the town hall, then it needs to be less than what it is.
Okay, what would you recommend, my dear?
I mean, I'm not looking at, like I just said, I would just ask generally. Everybody knows the symptoms of COVID at this point, so just ask if they've experienced symptoms. If they have, reschedule. Ask if they've tested positive in the past 14 days. If they have, reschedule. That's just me.
Other folks?
Am I getting loud? It's a library. I work in a library.
People, what do you think?
I think it's fine to just say, have you or anyone in your household experienced COVID-19 related symptoms in the last 19 days or whatever, 14 days? And then have you or anyone in your household been tested for COVID-19 in the last 14 days? Do you know
So
the
just
results? The results of those tests, or because I think you had
Just
like
the
you
first-
read about testing. Like, I mean, it's asking if they've been tested, and then asking if they were positive.
Well,
I don't think you can ask the results of the test, can you?
No, I don't think so.
Well, there was a the next question says, have you, or tested positive for COVID-19? Question number 3. Lynn would like to say something?
because of my eye surgery, I was tested for COVID-19. So I think it's probably better to say tested positive than just tested, because that opens up, you've all heard enough about my eyes at this
Yeah,
point.
I mean, we want people to be tested. That's a good thing.
But let me just pipe in that you don't get the results immediately. So somebody, for instance, my son's friend tested positive on a Monday. Well, no, he went for the test on a Monday, and we didn't hear till Friday the results.
Right.
So that's 2 separate questions. If
It
you've
is.
been tested but you're feeling fine now, I just think it's 2 separate questions.
Okay.
I see your point, Renee. Thank you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So does that mean you want to leave question 3 in? Well, it's actually, have you, your family, or anyone you know in the whole world?
Yeah, that's too much. Just you or your members of your household. You or members of your household.
So it sounds like 1 and 3 can be combined, kind of like Leslie said, right?
Well, no, one of them is-
Are you showing
oh,
symptoms or tested positive? I don't know. Right? Because tested positive, you have the results.
So that means you're eliminating number 2.
No, that would come next, because you could have been tested, but you don't have the results yet. So you would still have that question in there. There's a reason they've been tested. They don't get tested for no reason. So
Right, but you
combine
could-
1 and 2, and then make 2, well, keep 2 too. 1 and 3, right? 1 and 3.
Okay, so have you or anyone in your household experienced symptoms or experienced COVID-19 related symptoms in the last 14 days? So
Or,
you want to add,
yep, but you have it kind of twice. You're asking if they're having these symptoms, right? And then you ask
Yeah.
it again. Question 3 is asking it again.
right, that's, yep, okay, so 3 can come out, although they're talking about other people, friends.
Right. So ask if have you or anyone in your household experienced COVID-19 related symptoms in the last 14 days.
Yep,
So if
Okay,
we
and
know they've been in the house with somebody who's sick, them or someone they're sick.
Maybe if people
So then
don't
this-
know the symptoms, we could have a separate poster or something that explains the different symptoms.
That's an idea. Did you guys hear that?
I didn't hear that.
You're saying just have the symptoms posted, like if they're coming in the entranceway, if the symptoms are posted
Oh.
there. If they don't know the symptoms already, which I hope they they do. But Nicole's saying just have them posted.
Yeah, I mean, that would be easy, hopefully would be easy enough to do. All right, so how about, have you or anyone in your household been tested for COVID-19, or are we saying tested positive?
Positive.
Positive.
I just explained why it's important to have both.
So that makes
You do not get the results. So when Leslie mentioned, have they had any symptoms, or tested positive for COVID. That could be combined in that number one question. So you've tested and you've got the results already and it was positive in the last 14 days. The next question is, has anyone in your household been tested for COVID-19? They could be tested and not have the results yet. So that's just a general question. Have you been tested in the last 14 days or whatever?
Yeah, so now we're.
Maybe we don't beat this to death and you work on this, you know, outside this meeting.
We just want to get it done, Renee, because so, and the safety committee.
I think we've got it. I think we got it. The first
those
question.
2 questions.
The first question is, have you or anyone in your household had COVID-related symptoms COVID-19 related symptoms in the last 14 days? It's a yes or no question. The next question is, have you or anyone in your household tested positive for COVID-19 in the last 14 days? That's a yes or no question. And the third question is, have you or anyone in your household been tested in the last and are awaiting results in the last 14 days? You know, so it's 3 questions. They're yes or no's.
Okay.
But I mean,
So
I
the
think
travel, all that stuff is, or being treated somewhere where they could have been exposed, because we're not talking about exposure.
I think it's too hard to contact trace. The other point of these questions is somewhat is contact tracing, which is what I said to you, Maureen. And so if we're not tracking it, it's not really, it doesn't really, you know, the point of asking them in camp was like, I think contact tracing, or to not let them in, you know, but.
Right. So then I'm fine with those.
The other thing that's tricky is that some people are tested regularly for work. So, you know, some folks in the medical field are being tested weekly, or in nursing homes are being tested weekly. So if they answer yes, they've been tested, and you're not going to let them in, like they may have no.
That's a good point. Good point.
You know, I have a friend who's being tested weekly because she's part of her insurance company's part of a study. You know, she's being tested. So like, you know, she would answer yes, but she has no symptoms. It's just purely for a study factor.
I'm just surprised that there hasn't been a recommendation by our Northeast District Department of Health for all the municipalities with what are recommended questions that we can just, boom, this is it.
Those are the questions. I sent those questions to Marie, and they were from camp, and that's pretty similar. They were asking tested positive, been tested, or symptoms. They were asking all 3 questions.
All right.
But they weren't saying what to do if people answer yes.
Right.
Ask them.
Well,
Okay.
Well, that's with changing the question. So again, Amy's looking for any recommendation that the committee might have. The plan is to, if anybody has tested positive or has symptoms, we're not going to be allowed in the building. Tested, we weren't either, but you brought up a very good point that some people are being tested because they have to, and it doesn't mean anything. So what do folks think about that?
I think it's a valid point if someone says, I work, well, who knows if they're telling us the truth. You know, I'm a nurse. I work in the hospital. It's part of my job. I mean, that's an easy, acceptable response.
Right.
I didn't get tested because I had symptoms. I'm getting tested because it's work related. If we get that answer, then, I mean, or I didn't get I don't know.
Are people fine with it? I mean, do people feel find recommending that to Amy?
I feel comfortable because I know that if you're being tested for symptoms, they tell you to stay home. You know, so if you're going and getting tested, they're saying like, okay, you need to self-quarantine until you get the results. You know, otherwise being tested for work, they don't tell you to self-quarantine because you're coming to work for your test.
Well, you know what? The more you look at that, though, she's right. They're not going to test you just to test you unless it's a work thing, right? So then maybe we don't even need that question now that I'm thinking about it, because if you have the symptoms, that's why you're getting tested. So you're asking that question above. So maybe we don't need to say, have you been tested? Maybe just the tested positive and the symptoms question.
I think the testing question also came out really early when there weren't a lot of tests, so it was assumed that anyone getting a test must sick or, getting it for some reason, where now with the amount of testing that's being done, it's,
Point of clarification too, I mean, some of this to the point might be tripping off some HIPAA stuff as well in terms of asking people about medical information. So I think you need to be very careful what line you do draw, putting a sign on a public building asking about personal medical information. And so I'm looking for some guidelines that I felt I saw. I've been reading signs everywhere on other public buildings, retail spaces and whatnot. So there's some generic language out there that gets you out of all of this if then buts, following the guidance of you're not really supposed to be asking certain medical questions. So just my 5 cents.
I'm just surprised that there's not some standard out there that we can just steal.
There is. I'm looking for it for you. There is. So stay tuned.
There-
I'm looking.
Lynn, go ahead, Lynn.
Okay, I have a suggestion. We may not be able to hammer it completely out at this meeting, but I think we're getting a good start on it. I would like to know if we could I'm asking you to do something else, Marie, but could you contact Putnam Town Hall, who is reopening, and see how they're handling things? And if NDDH does have something that's going out in this building.
Yeah, in general, they tend to be longer questionnaires.
Yes.
From every place that I've gotten them,
Oh,
Yep.
much
I
longer.
like short and sweet.
Yeah.
Nothing sweet about it, Dick.
That's, speak for yourself.
I think we've narrowed it down. We basically have 2 questions. One is, have you or anyone in your household COVID-19 related symptoms in the last 14 days? And the second question is, have you or anyone in your household tested positive in the last 14 days? I mean, those are the people that we don't want to come in. Somebody who's sick, who has symptoms or who's positive.
Any other input?
I'm good with
I'm just gonna-
with the questions. But are you guys gonna do a thermometer?
We have them.
That's to be used. Butters data come in. A decision has not yet been made about whether or not it will be used for the public.
How many thermometers do you have?
12, I think.
So I'm used to going to see a doctor and having my temperature taken. It's like not a big deal.
Right.
That's like your final check.
Right. Right. I think in medical situations, people are probably expecting that, but I don't know if coming into a public building like the town hall is something they'd expect. I mean, it's really our decision whether or not we do it. There was some concern that the people that are going to be manning the second floor, who are not town hall employees, don't feel comfortable doing that, taking temperatures and making a decision on whether they should come in or not, because they've had a nurse with them every time they've done it at the school.
I got plenty. Sorry.
You got plenty.
Sorry. I'm talking to Paula.
Oh.
I just think that if you take the temperatures, it's safer for the town hall employees.
Any other thoughts on that? Renee, Leslie, people that are actually in town hall, any thoughts?
I shared in an email, I'm comfortable not taking the temperatures of folks that are entering for a short amount of time. I think, as it's mostly adults who are coming in who hopefully can self-diagnose when they have a temperature. I shared my thoughts on that in an email.
Yep, you did.
Requirement
Go
of
ahead.
camp. It's a requirement of camp and childcare because of like prolonged exposure. You know, they're together all day for 8 hours and it's an easy in and out. You know, somebody coming into a building for 5 minutes, you know, 10 minutes is a little bit different. I don't know of any other business that's taking temperatures of customers. I only know of, you know, employees and like childcare settings. I'm reading a lot of regulations for different, you know, gyms and
I was at a restaurant last week, and they took my temperature before I was
really?
allowed to sit down.
Wow.
And that's really where I've seen it being employed too, is at restaurant situations. That's the only place I've seen where it's not been in a contained circle of employees checking fellow employees. Marie, I just sent you the link to the CDC print resource page that's sorted by organization type and topic and whatnot. You might find some helpful resources there to try to get some language.
Whatever decided, I think if I would be pleased if this committee would recommend that it's consistent through the departments and the personnel.
Right.
Because we defeat our own purpose when some do and some don't. We field probably 50% or maybe a third of the phone calls that come in from the public because they don't know who to call. And I want to be able to tell them, this is what you need to do, and this is what we're doing, and it's consistent. We're going to make public wear masks, and then personnel are greeting them with none, or walking the halls with none.
They will wear them. I spoke with Amy this morning, and she said that if anybody is without a mask on June 29th, she will provide them with one and let them know that they need to be wearing one. Okay. Yes.
So
Renee?
question on behalf of the library, are masks, what type of masks are being provided and will they be provided to all town entities?
They were provided to us through the state. I think we got 500. Steve Benoit picked them up for us. A packet is going to go in every office to start. I can see if we can give you some of those and he can get more for us.
Have a good one.
I'd appreciate that, Marie. Thank you.
Okay. How about at the highway, Rich?
What about it?
Do you ever need anything for if you're out talking to the public or?
Negative.
Live free, die young.
Wrong state.
All right, anything else about the town hall reopening?
Marie, I would just ask, since it took us so long to sort of roll out this first initial stage of reopening, it seems to be, you know, I mean, on everything, I'm experiencing it as well. Everything takes a long time for a rollout as we want to get it right. What's phase 2 of reopening? When are we going to open the bottom doors? When are we going to stop asking these questions? What's phase 2, 3, and the timeline of that?
That has not been decided. June 29th, we're opening by appointment only. Amy is spending time keeping track of what the state is recommending and what the governor is saying, and when we can make a decision on the next step, she'll let me know. We'll have a department head potentially Zoom call so that we can let everybody know that we're opening the doors for good, no appointments required, what the protocol will be.
Okay.
Okay, and we will be having a department head meeting with the full protocol, and then we will be having a staff meeting as well to let everybody know what it is that's going to be happening come June 29th.
Sounds good.
Okay. Do we have any other business? No?
No.
All righty. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Okay, second.
I'll second.
Second by Lynn. Oh, sorry. Lynn beat ya. All right, thank you. So our next meeting is, let's see, is in September. I don't have the date right in front of me, but we'll certainly send it out to everybody. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
You.
Don't get sick.
Have a good day.
All right,
You
see you
too.
soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Let me know if you need anything.